Nanika, I want to basically look at the things that align really well with the essay project, and some things are probably a little bit far afield. Um, Not that they're off topic, but I'm trying to keep a really narrow tunnel vision. I want them to look at the Cameron Todd Willingham case, look at the tunnel vision, pardon me, look at the flawed forensic science, fire forensics, and then build upon that. And with some of the other themes, it can be wrongful convictions in general. You have some great stuff on Johnny Webb here, really excellent, and flawed expert witnesses. And so I don't want to talk forever, but I think the books might be a stretch for most of them. Some of them will look in and they'll have the good critical reading skills and they will know how to go right into the table of contents and say, oh, that's on topic. That's not. Now, and similarly, the somewhat meta analyses here might be a little bit beyond the reach of a narrowly focused essay. This stuff here is totally on target. David Grand, a nice short one about the death penalty, and also good keynotes in wrongful conviction. That's really excellent. And some of these articles are really terrific too. I couldn't get the one in Maine, but the other ones looked really, really solid. And I think I looked at one, if I'm in the correct place here, one on JSTOR, just to give me an idea of what I'm working with here is that this is a great article, Invalid Forensics, etc., etc. It's 97 pages long, and really the one section that's most likely to have a direct bearing is on page 89, Failures of Defense Counsel. Now I look at that lead in the table of contents, and I realize, oh yeah, the defense counsel fails to challenge bogus forensics. And so you have some really great quotable stuff right there. But I can weed through this because I've got a pretty good eye as a reader, but the students might get lost. So I'm trying to get things that have a real direct bearing. I think this could be really solid, the systematic story of the Texas death penalty, but weeding through it might take a lot more time. Now, when I go over to here to web pages, Innocent Project is great, and I can open this up and show them. I'll make a video like this for the students, how they can go right into Cameron Todd Willingham and get 191 hits. So they're really cool. The Marshall Project has this great stuff too, no question about it. And this Frontline, I don't like it much because it gives a little bit too much weight to the people who I think were grossly mistaken. That is the fire investigators, whom, almost every notable fire investigator thinks were just basically operating on nonsense theories. But nonetheless, it shows how the case lives on in the memory of the people in town, most of whom think he should be killed again, right? But that's a different story. That's not guilt or innocence. That's once you fix your mind that somebody is guilty of sin, it's almost impossible to redeem that person. We hold on to our fears regardless of the evidence. So this one is good, but again, it's got some things that I'm not crazy about. But what the heck? I can introduce that and say, keep in mind that for a lot of people, Willingham is still guilty. Well worth looking at. This one here. Some of these academic search is really good, but again, when I get into civil rights and social justice, I'd have to probably coach them on how to look at wrongful convictions in that. And criminal justice abstracts, I'm sure we can get things on Willingham there. Newspaper, really good, tons of stuff. And statistics, again, that pulls them into kind of a heady, more on the PhD end of education, collection of articles. So I'm always kind of leery of getting too far afield, if that makes sense, because I want to keep in mind these are freshmen and I want to have things that go really strongly with the themes we've discussed. And one thing I learned long ago is if you shift the thematic focus from the one you've used to analyze your primary documents, the students don't shift. they wonder what the heck are you talking about, because they don't hold that primary document solidly in their head so that they can look at it from a number of different angles, if that makes sense. Let me give you an example of just a couple things I'd like to add. This is from Norman Buckwell, a parallel class at Chabot College. I like, and he said he consulted kind of a Library of Congress. I like these different search terms. I think that worked out pretty well. And one of the main things is that he said the wrongful conviction, according to the Library of Congress lexicon, is actual innocence. That's the way they like to search it. For web pages, really a lot of the same things that you have, which are really great. But the National Registry of Exonerations arson cases is really cool. A nice add to the Innocence Project, which you already linked. And if it keeps the same name, I think it's pretty easy to find. But that would be really cool. I'd like to add that in, mainly because as you scroll down, this is somebody who's in the Wellingham story, Ernest Ray Willis. He had the exact identical guilty verdict, murder, arson, and the exact same faulty forensics. And he, with the benefit of millions of dollars donated by a New York law firm, was exonerated about 10 months after Willingham was executed. And so this is just kind of a good parallel story. And then along with it, with the listing of arson, of arson exonerations, and many of these are, murder, attempted murder, students can get a lot of parallel cases. I don't want to have them have like 28 shallow references of just like stories, but at least they can beef up a little bit of what happened to Wellingham, in the idea that he's a poor man who couldn't have a good lawyer. And they can kind of look at some of these other cases where the arson investigation was really junk. So that was something that really seemed very good. The other things, this stuff here in the middle is mostly about the unreliability of Google. And similarly, the databases, you both have really good things. And, it's a face-to-face class, so I found that the criminal justice abstracts were a little bit heady. That's, again, more on the PhD end. But if they get down to Articles Plus and you link the parallel site, they get, 6,000 articles, but at the same time, they get things that are written in a more common language. So I guess what I would like, really not much, because you have a lot of good things, but is there any way you could get those subject terms, some of them, and is there any way you could get the National Registry of Exonerations arson cases linked into those wonderful websites? That would be really helpful, I think. Right here, though, you got a lot of great videos, and then the PBS video links to many, many more videos. So this is, where are we at here? No, not David Grant. It's one of these. Oh, wow. Oh, maybe that's a website. Yeah, Death by Fire. So, and again, I'll make something like this for the students, because along with this, there's a lot of follow-up. A lot of follow-up on the Wellingham case, which is really great. So I really appreciate this work, and I just had those couple of ads, if you could consider them. The keywords, I think you'd have to freeze the screen or something. And also brains, if I have any left. The National Registry of Exonerations arson page. That one. And of course, I'd love to talk to you about this later on. This is a really cool thing. And again, I'll emphasize that one of the great things about having a librarian create this is that you can email the librarians and always get help with your research. Does this give you an idea? I don't want to have them going too far afield, because they're not really in a grad school student mode. I want them to get shorter copy that'll really help them augment the paper. And I don't want to have them getting lost in larger and more complex documents. So I hope that helps, and thanks a bunch.